He's not in there yet, so.
Well, come on, Mark. We want to see your stuff.
Let's see here. Let me go back over here and say, oh, there he is.
Hey.
There he is.
Welcome aboard.
Here, boom. Bam. There he is, Mark Baratto with Key West Backyards. How you doing, brother?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
I tell you what, I'm, considering everything that's been going on in the world in the last couple years or whatever, I'm actually doing pretty good, man. Doing real good.
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
Yeah, man. So, first of all, thank you for joining us here with Sunday Mornings with the Tiki Man. And thank you so much for allowing us to come into your gallery and be on your podcast when we were down in Key West.
Yeah, man, it was great. It feels a little weird being on the other side of the podcast interviewing stage, but I know that you're going to do a great job. You're a super pro.
Well, man, I really appreciate it. What is it?
He's not on the screen. We're seeing the...
Oh, hold on a second here.
Let's fix that.
Here
Good morning,
go.
Mark.
We're seeing the advertisements
Good
here.
morning.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on a second here. Boom. It'll pop up here in just a second. There we go. Let me get back over
I thought it was just my phone had a serious delay.
No.
Okay. There we go. The producers are, screaming at me here in the studio.
As they should. It's their job.
That's exactly right. But, man, I was a big fan of yours before we actually hooked up and came on your podcast. I was following your Facebook thing, and that's an interesting, we've been talking about Facebook this morning, and obviously they took a bath the other day, but a lot of people, businesses and things have kind of moved away from it or whatever. But, I mean, for us, it's a big thing about what we do. But, I was following you on Facebook, with all your great pictures. I think it's really cool to see those backyards in Key West because a lot of people don't get to see that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because my family and I moved to Key West over 3 years ago. And before we moved here, my mom bought us a coffee table book, which was called The Rooftops of New York. And before we moved here, we really wanted to showcase all the backyards that were here, because every time we came and visit, we'd peek over the fence and see all these exquisite backyards with these small front yards. So I decided to either take pictures of these backyards, befriend different realtors and get in there, go to open houses, and also make friends with a lot of photographers down here who provide me those pictures, and just started taking those pictures and showcasing them on my social media account.
Right. Well, it's beautiful, and even that rooftop thing, that book you were talking about with Rooftops of New York. I mean, you and I had this discussion about, because I used to travel up there for meetings all the time, and I've seen those rooftops up there, and a lot of people never know they're up there, obviously, because the buildings are so tall. It's really cool.
Yeah, the thing is in a past life, I had a marketing consulting company. And I would just tell all my clients to do certain things. Start a social media account. It's free. The reach is free. You get to promote yourself, or you get to engage with different people from all over the world. Start a podcast and just try to find your niche and figure it out. And I figured I'd put my money where my mouth is and started doing all that. And next thing you know, we have a gallery, Backyards of Key West Gallery. We have the social media accounts where we get to interact with people. We have the podcast where I get to meet incredible people like yourself. So, I mean, it really, I ate my own dog food and it tasted good.
That's a good way of putting it, man. And so the gallery is beautiful. I was talking earlier about the building that it's actually in, and that's one of the oldest buildings on the island there. And it's been through 3 different wars and all that stuff. A lot of history down there.
Yeah, I had some people from the military, some older gentlemen. They came in my gallery. They were looking at some of the art, and they're like, "Do you know the history of this building?" And I knew a little bit about it. But he said every time there was a hurricane down there that was going to hit close to the Keys, they would go in that building and they would go and chain themselves to the rafters because there's a widow's walk at the top.
Wow.
And they would go in and open it up and watch the storm go by. And I'm
wow. Oh, wow.
It was a different generation back then.
Oh, my God. I mean, can you imagine? I mean,
that
all
would be
right,
cool.
Everybody chain up. It's coming. Here we go. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, man. That's a whole, I never heard that story. That's really cool.
That's really cool.
neat.
Yeah, it's really neat. But
That's what's cool about being in that building and having our gallery in there. Besides meeting amazing people that come in through there all the time, I meet a lot of vets, a lot of people who were in the Navy who were stationed down here, and they just love to download and tell all those stories, and I love hearing them.
Yeah, and I guess it was Coast Guard's building number 1 or something like that. I remember reading it at one time outside the building there.
Yeah, it's got a lot of amazing history, and it's built like a fortress. Hence the reason why they all went there during hurricanes.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the gallery. Obviously, tell everybody kind of what you do. It's not like paintings, so tell everybody kind of how your art is on the wall there.
Yeah, what I do is I photograph different homes, beaches, landmarks, anything that's really Key West and in mainland Key West. And I like I said, I've been in marketing and I've been a digital artist pretty much my entire life. So I would take these pictures and then edit them digitally in my computer. I kind of have like a trackpad and a pressure sensitive pen, and I go in there and do all these swirly effects and do all this design on top of the photograph, eliminate things like people in garbage cans and bad palm fronds and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then I have all the equipment, so I will do the craftsmanship of that. So I'll print everything, I'll cut the wooden bars, I'll stretch everything, and I just do everything soup to nuts here in Key West. So it's really from the photographing of it to the digitizing of it to the craftsman, everything's made in Key West, and I really love it.
Yeah, you remove everything and leave the chickens, right?
Yeah, I leave a couple red Solo cups here or there for people to see, because it's part of Key West.
And how long you been doing this?
So we moved down here 3 years ago. I started doing everything online as far as selling online about 2 years ago. And then we opened the gallery in May. So we're we're closing in on the year this year. And I just love it. I was always like I'm never going to do retail. Everything's going to be online. That's my forte. That's what I'm so used to doing.
Yeah.
But then the girls across from us, because, in the shops in Mallory Square, which is where we are, which is the building we were talking about, that used to have like really bad cologne and bad T-shirts, and locals never went there, and tourists would just stay away from there. And when the pandemic hit, HTA, which is Historic Tours of America, bought the building. Those are the companies that do like the trolley tours and stuff around the island. They bought the building and they cut all the rent in half because they want local artists to come in there.
Nice.
So they brought in all these amazing artists, T-shirt makers, candle makers, soap makers, other artists, original art that's in there. Just a really amazing group of makers and artists. So the girls across the hall from where my space is right now, which is Ocean Blue Studio, they do a Artist of the Month, and they wanted to put me in there. So they put me in there for the month, and we just sold out week after week. So, I did retail, I think, the safest way, because we did a show on the street on Duval Street and sold out everything. I went with them for the month, sold out week after week. I'm like, okay, retail's going to work. So then got the space across from them, which is like if you walk in from where the aquarium is, or it's right across from Cuban Coffee Queen. We've got a great spot. Got that spot, and I decided it's time. I'm married. I have a 13-year-old boy. It's time for my man cave. And that's what I turned the office and the gallery into. I got the bar cart in there. I've got hanging bulbs and stuff, all inspiration from all different stores that I've been in my entire life. I kind of compacted it all into one place.
It's very beautiful. And the coasters that you were gracious enough
you gave me, we love them.
Yeah, the hippie chicks here.
Awesome.
And,
I show them off to everybody. Hey,
yeah.
I show them off to everybody here.
Next time we come down, you got to interview her, because she's the real talent behind everything.
No, he is.
I know. She was nodding the whole time, because when I was interviewing you, you were like, oh no, she's the real talent, and she's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that. We know that 100%.
Y'all are silly.
But
Thank
we do
you.
have the coasters in the chocolate bar here. People commented all the time on them, and of course we tell them about your place, and I can imagine 3 years ago you moved there, you kind of you have an idea of what you're going to do, maybe not, and then the pandemic happens. Did that scare the hell out of you?
It didn't, because I've always been an online digital person. Like I said, marketing is my forte. Helping people create their business, create their brand, and market everything is kind of what I do in my specialty.
Right.
So we had everything online as far as selling the backyards of Key West art. And then I still had my online clients. I still was doing my consultant and had clients that were all over the country. And the thing about it is, what the pandemic did is it took e-commerce from where it was and moved it ahead 5 to 10 years within a 3-month period. So it's like, you know, I think it was like 25-30% of all businesses were online and were e-commerce selling stuff, which isn't a lot, believe it or not. I really thought there'd be a lot more. But then it went up another 15% within 6 months of the pandemic. So it really helped, like, grandma that was like, I'm not putting my credit card in there. Now she's in there buying stuff. You have people that are like, I only like going into stores. I don't buy online. It's all BS. The government's stealing my stuff. They all decided, hey, you know, I can't get toilet paper. Got
to go online for all that.
Yeah. No, so, I think you're right, man. I think we'll look back on that 2020 year as a great thing. I know, obviously, a lot of people died. It was bad. It was this. For a lot of businesses, especially if you were in the restaurant business, it sucked. But for people like yourself and for Tiki Man Radio, where internet is kind of what we do, it was the best thing that ever happened for us.
Yeah, and you know, even in the restaurant business, I had some clients that they pivoted. They really decided on how they're going to work with the space that they have. Maybe they closed a restaurant down and maybe they just went to renting kitchens and were bringing food to people constantly. Maybe they're doing subscription-based business. I mean, people who are innovative really put a lot of time and effort into taking their business to the next level. I'm not knocking businesses that closed and suffered, because I have a lot of friends that happened to as well up in New York and down here. But the people who were innovative from the beginning have quadrupled their business now that everything's kind of back open.
That's exactly right. Yeah. If you were already, looking 10 years down the road, this moved you a lot closer down the road for sure. And, the ones that were struggling to manage their business, well, they probably went out of business during that time because they never had a backup plan. They never thought, hey, I've been thinking about this for 5 years now. Let's take and implement this right here and right now and here's what we're going to do. They never went to plan B. That's what really separated the people that were in tune with their business as opposed to people having a business run them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I still talk to people now that have retail-only businesses, and I'm like, or they've started a business. Down here in Key West, it's very retail. There's not a lot of online. When my social media account, Backyards at Key West, has like double the amount of followers and Sloppy Joe's, like there's a problem. It shouldn't be that.
Exactly.
I hope that the pandemic helped a lot of these businesses realize it's time now. I mean, he should have done it, right, 5 years ago, but it's time now to get my stuff online. Try, at least, look, if you're not going to sell anything online, at least you could provide value to your audience, right? At least you can say, okay, we're going to do, if you're a bar, how to make these specific drinks we do in here. Just keep doing something to keep your brand alive and to build it, because anytime there's a bust or anytime there was like a plague or something like that, like in the 20s, right? So you had the roaring 20s that came right out of something like we just went through, because a lot of people saved up their money, which not so many people did right now, because every time people got money from the government during 2020, e-commerce went up 20%, which is not smart, but it still happened. But that's when people want to get out and want to spend, and that's how big businesses are built. And right now is the time to start thinking about building your online presence. Start thinking about doing things on an e-commerce way. Start maybe living your dream, fulfilling some of the things that you really want to do. I mean, that's what Backyards at Key West was. I had a consulting business. I started the social media account. I started the podcast, talked to my audience, found out something I was passionate about, which was creating the art, worked out prices and things with my audience, and then launched it, and it just was a big success. And then the pandemic just catapulted into being something even better, because people missed Key West. They wanted to come down here and they couldn't. So they were able to get that fixed through social media, through the podcast, through the things that I do that is strictly adding value, because I'm never asking anything from people unless they just want to buy art.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Well, it's a good point what you mentioned. The Roaring '20s came out of that pandemic. And it just, like you said, everybody now just, they never, it's funny, a lot of people didn't even know we had a pandemic back then. But they all heard of the Roaring '20s, and it's the same thing. Business was doing then what we're doing now, and Key West is doing that as well. I mean, they've looked at the whole island. They've looked at I love the fact that they got rid of those little T-shirt shops and things because people would hate to walk by them.
Oh, it's so annoying.
You come here, you buy this, you get it for all that stuff. It was bad for business, and so I'm glad that and they've redone that because the shops are right there, man, at Mallory Square where the cruise ships do come in and off and all that stuff. It's a huge thing.
Yeah, and they're so cool, and we have such a great community of artists that when somebody does come in, maybe just to get coffee or just to see one of the other shops that are there, they'll stick around. They'll go and check out everything on the ground floor. They'll go up the only escalator in Key West, by the way.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
And the only one.
No, that's classy.
Go and see everybody upstairs, and it's cool because so many of the artists are creating art there. They're either painting or they're making T-shirts or they're doing everything right there in the shops. So you get to, it's not just a salesperson.
Yeah.
You get to meet the creators and sit down and have conversations with them, which a lot of people love.
Man, that's cool. What made you choose Key West?
So I'm originally from New York. I had a brokerage business in a past life up in New York and went back and forth from Wall Street area down to Miami. I lived in Miami Beach. That's where I met my wife. That's where my son was born. And when my son was like 9 years old and he's like, I want a Bugatti, I'm like, we're out of here. We're moving someplace else. This glamorous lifestyle where it's all about flash and nothing up here. And I visited Key West so many times. We came and spent a couple of months down here in the summer just to get a feel, right? The slowest time, and just fell in love with the people, the people of Key West. I like to say it's the smallest cul-de-sac in the U.S.
Oh, nice.
We have like 40,000 people that live here, maybe 20,000 that live here full time. And it's just a very small community, but with millions of tourists that come through all the time, and bars and great entertainment and amazing stuff that happens all the time. So you get that small town feel, but you also get the big city stuff that you want.
Yeah. Man, that's a cool way of looking at it. I mean, it was time to leave Miami. There's no doubt about that. But, coming down, I've always said that I love the island. I love the people of the island. I love walking around. Even riding a bicycle, you can miss things, right? Even though riding a bicycle early in the morning is one of my favorite things to do, I love to take a walk and just enjoy Key West. We've hooked up with Tyler Sheff. You really need to reach out to him and get him on your podcast at some time or another. He's a realtor there in Key West. He does some really cool videos of riding around and showing different little neighborhoods in Key West that a lot of people don't even know are there.
Yeah, we are going to be meeting up more often. We did our first meetup with Tyler and a couple other podcasts and video creators down here. So it's going to be like a Key West creators meetup group.
Great.
And just so that we can help each other, how we can promote each other and spread the word and, help us all grow with the different talents that we have. So yeah, I did meet him. He's an amazing guy. He's going to be having a show on your show, correct?
Yes, he is. He's going to be doing a live show on Wednesdays called the Midweek Mindset, I believe is what he's going to be calling it. So live from Key West, and I'm sure we'll have you on that show as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to be on there. Any way I can help your audience answer any questions about Key West, about marketing, about e-commerce, about photography, anything that they'd want to know. I'm always there for you and your audience.
Man, I really appreciate we appreciate your friendship, and we appreciate everything you do for Tiki Man Radio, and you're always the one we point people to when they're down there in Key West as well. How can people, if they want to go online, and tell them where to go, the address, and your website and all that good stuff?
Sure. So we're located at the Shops of Mallory Square. It's 291 Front Street. That's in Key West. If you just go where the aquarium is, there's an entrance right in there. It's a big brick building all the way down on Front Street. You can go and visit me at backyardsofkeywest.com. The link for the podcast is on there. The link for social media. Everything you could find is on there. and just come say hi, man. You know, I love when people come in the gallery or even chat with me online, DM me. You know, I always am communicating, having a conversation with people on social media. And one of the things I wanted to do for your group out there is, you know, if you go to backyardsofkeywest.com, where if you did want to buy something online, I want to give 20% off just to any of your listeners. They could just use the code Tiki Man 20.
Oh, wow.
And you get 20% off. And it's not like just now, like you got to do it today. It's forever. It's
man.
Oh, that's so great.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. We'll make sure and put that on the website for you and mention that, man. That's so cool. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, man. Well, buddy, we're going to let you fly, and I'll make sure and put all the links and stuff in the video after the show and make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with you. But I really dig I've always been a big fan of yours from distance. I'm so fortunate that I was able to actually meet you in person, be on your podcast, and be a part of what you're doing as well. So thank you so much, man.
Awesome. Thank you. I do have to do one more shout out for Scott and Ruth Dyer.
Oh,
because
yes.
they're the ones that introduced me to you. And I did want to give him a little plug, you know, out there. I know he's got a show there too. And he's always, you know, Scotty Chill is always killing it.
He is.
Scotty Chill and Ruth the Truth, as we call her. You know, they're now doing their live show on Fridays at 7 p.m. And yes, I know that you and Ruth, I think, do a podcast together at some point in time or another, right?
Yeah, we are. We're doing everything together.
That's awesome.
That's cool, man. It's just one big happy family around here.
Of course. Listen, anything we can do to help each other, that's what it's all about.
Well, cool, brother. Well, we're going to let you fly, man. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning, and we'll make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with you as well, okay?
You got it. Hippie chick, next time, you're the star.
Okay. Thank you.
She's
darling.
always a star, you know. But, all right, brother. Take it easy, man. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Take care, guys.
All right, man. Oh, man, that is so cool that he
fantastic.
He made time for us to come over here and be a part of the show today. And, man, if you've never been to that gallery, it's so beautiful down there.